Hello, coaches. Welcome back to another episode of Coach Better Spotlight. Today, we're sharing a very special bonus episode. As the premium mentor for our Eduro learning, the Coach Microcredential, I asked a few of our current participants to share their professional coaching journeys with you and how the coach has helped them grow professionally over the last year. As you'll see, there are so many common experiences that coaches share, but because they're often isolated in their individual school communities, it can feel like we're going through them alone. The coach has brought together these three amazing coaches: Emma Ahmed, currently based in Saudi Arabia, Tiana Loeffler, currently based in Frankfurt, Germany, and Whitney Little, currently based in Jeju, Korea, together on their quest to coach better. Watch today's episode to get a sense of that coaching community and how the coach has empowered them to take their coaching to the next level over the course of this year. If you enjoy any part of this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more conversations like this, please subscribe to our channel and click the notifications bell to find out every time we release a new episode. Remember, you can also listen to the full Coach Better episode wherever you get your podcasts. We are passionate about the impact coaching can have on student learning, school culture, and teacher professional growth, and we want to help you coach better. We've got some great opportunities for more learning after today's conversation, so stick around all the way to the end. All right, welcome back to another episode of Coach Better. Today, I am super pumped to be here with three of our cohort 3 participants in the Coach Microcredential. And I wanted to take an opportunity to kind of talk to them about their experience, both as coaches and as part of the Coach Microcredential, and offer this to our Coach Better listeners as a bonus episode. So super psyched to talk to these wonderful coaches. And I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves to all of you so you know who they are. And right now, as I look at my screen, I am seeing Emma. So I'm going to start with Emma. Emma, will you please introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Emma Ahmed. I'm a learning coach at ISG Jubail in Saudi Arabia. And we are in the process of figuring out our coaching program, and it's been a really exciting journey so far.
Awesome. Thank you. And next on my screen, I see Tiana. So I'm going to ask Tiana to introduce yourself, please.
I'm Tiana Loeffler, and I'm currently the ICT coordinator at Frankfurt International School in the primary up through grade 2, so bridging up to elementary school. And we are also really getting coaching going here at our school. So it is a learning journey for us as well, and definitely for me throughout this process.
Thank you. And last but not least, Whitney, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Whitney Little. I am the middle school technology coach at Korea International School, Jeju campus. We, just like everyone else, are kind of just starting our coaching program and trying to work through all the kinks between technology coaches and instructional coaches and figuring out where everyone fits.
I think even just starting off the conversation to acknowledge the fact that when you all joined this cohort, you didn't know each other, but as you're going through the cohort together, it's so clear that so many of you are on so many similar journeys. And I think that's really interesting because oftentimes we might be the only coach in our school or possibly the only coach in our division and not realize that, oh my gosh, so many other people are having the exact, maybe not the exact same, but a very similar experience to me and going through the same kind of building a coaching culture in our schools, whether it's specific to ed tech or broader innovation or even broader instructional coaching. I think that's a really good, like, even first message to take away from this conversation, that the three of you in all different parts of the world, Asia, the Middle East, and Europe, and you have this like common journey that you're going on together individually in your schools and in the course. Can I ask you all to share a little bit about what your role is in your school, what it looks like when you got your job? Just tell us a little bit about what the structure is right now so we have that kind of vision in mind. And I'll start with Whitney because she's still on my screen.
Perfect. So I kind of fell into this role about a year and a half ago. I was hired to start a Create Space design thinking elective, and we had an opening for a tech coach. And so I started doing a lot of the tasks and realized I couldn't manage both. And so had a conversation with my then principal, who I just kind of said I would love to really work on coaching and do a little bit less teaching. And she was game for it. And so I got pushed into this role about October of last school year. And yeah, it's been a journey ever since, just really trying to build the program and figure out how things work there.
Awesome. And Tiana, do you want to tell us a little bit about your journey and what your role is like at your school?
Yeah, so I came here as a 60% tech coordinator when I first arrived, and I was doing 40% EAL in the classroom. So it was quite a interesting journey to start with, trying to balance those two out and feel my way around a school. And I came in as what we call the coordinator, and we still go by that name, but as of last year, beginning of last year, we decided as a team that we really wanted to be seen more as coaches and be doing more actual coaching versus just coordinating, which we still do, and we still do the IT support, and we still do all that. But it's become more of a coaching position, and that's how we're seeing more as we're building this in the school, that teachers are starting to see that, wait a minute, I can actually be coached with these guys as well, with all the coordinators. So
it's such a good point too, and I'm gonna ask you to share your experience too. But it's an interesting point about when job titles start changing, and the role has to change along with it. And I think a lot of coaches are in the position of being there when the job title changes, and then to have that opportunity that presents lots of great, exciting things, but also a lot of challenges to really deliver what a coach can do compared to maybe what was previously done in that role. That's a really interesting dynamic that I think a lot of coaches are going through. Like, obviously, you're not alone. All right, I'm going to get Emma to introduce herself, and then we can maybe have not introduce herself, but tell her story a little bit about her job and her journey. And then we can maybe have more of a shared conversation about what your professional learning looks like. So Emma, last but not least, tell us what your role is at your school and kind of what that looks like and how you got there and a little bit of that story.
Well, it really links very much to what you guys were just saying, and what you were saying came about the role. And I started out as a digital learning coach, and there was a digital learning coach in each of our 7 schools because we're part of a district. And then over the time, we realized that in the work that we've done together as a group of coaches, we realized that actually when we started to try and measure what the impact of coaching would look like and what causes good learning, we weren't really looking at the technology part of it. We were looking at just learning in general. And so now it's moved to more of a learning coach generally rather than specifically with technology. And I think that's been a great opportunity to work with lots of different people and to redefine the role with the rest of the school. So
I think it's so clear just from the 3 of you, but also from all the conversations that I've had as part of this podcast, that the role of coaches is so dynamic and so changing in all of our schools. It is the kind of job where you need to be always learning. And so that kind of makes me want to ask you a little bit about your professional learning and what kind of professional learning you were doing before you started this program, and then how it kind of led you to join this program. What attracted you to the program, but also what were you doing before that maybe you were missing, and that's kind of what brought you to the program. And Emma, because you're on my screen, I'll let you start. And then ladies, let's all feel free to kind of just jump in and have a natural conversation. We got all the introductions out of the way. We can just kind of chit chat. There's only 4 of us. It's not too bad.
well, I'm glad you let me go first, because
Okay.
I was actually thinking it really links into what we were just saying, that, I was in that team of the 7 of us, and then gradually the coaching positions ended up being reabsorbed into the classroom in some of the other schools, or people moved on and the positions weren't replaced. And so I found myself in the position of being one of the last few coaches left in the district and the only one in my school. So that was one of the really key reasons I joined the coach, is to have that cohort of other people and that support system that I didn't have in my own school. And that's really what I was missing and I was looking for, and that's why I chose the program.
Awesome.
I was kind of the same way. I felt like, I kind of got thrown into this position and didn't really know I knew what coaching was. I had been coached myself, but other than doing, like going to a couple conferences and listening to a couple podcasts, I didn't really understand how to be successful at my job. And so that's really why I wanted to take the course, was to learn from other people and really gain some knowledge and practical application.
Yeah, and I would piggyback off of both of those and just say that I actually did take a coaching workshop. It was just a condensed 2-day workshop that had been condensed from 4 days with my teammates, and it opened my eyes to it a bit more and to what it actually is and what it actually could be. And so then after that, it was, I want to continue with this. I want to get better at this. This is something that I really appreciate, but also think teachers would really appreciate and find helpful. So that's where I was then looking for more, and that's where I found the coach.
So cool. And as you're going through the program, are you feeling like what is happening here is what you expected? You did get what you were looking for? How is the coach preparing you to meet the kinds of potential challenges and opportunities that you have in your school settings? I'll pick on Tiana because you're on my screen, and then let everybody kind of jump in as they see fit.
I think actually it has been maybe more than what I anticipated, just because I didn't realize how much one-on-one time I would get with you, Kim, with my mentor, but also just getting to chat with other people who are in the same boat, like these ladies, and we're all on the same page. We're all on the same journey. We're all experiencing the same things in just different ways. So it's been more than what I anticipated, I think. I mean, there's definitely a lot of other behind the scenes reading and writing and learning and thinking and going on as well. So yeah.
Cool.
I think for me, I would agree. It's been a whole lot more than what I was looking for. I thought I would just do some reading, get some practical tips, maybe have 1 or 2 meetings, and that would be it. But and I know in my position, I feel very isolated a lot of times, and it's made me realize that I'm not alone, and there are many other people who are going through this, and there is that support system. And Kim, as a mentor, is always there, like whenever you need someone to talk to and you have that like burning issue, or you just need to be like, I need help, I don't know what to do. It's so responsive and so like just immediate feedback. And even the readings always seem to be exactly like in the position that, or the situation that I'm reading about, and the lessons that I'm doing seem to correlate exactly with what's going on in the school for some weird reason. And I love it.
That's awesome. Thank you.
So same really, that with both of you, that the things that we're doing online are, in some ways it's reaffirming some of the things that I've done. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm on the right lines. These are things I've done myself, but if this is what we're doing in our course, then I must be, making the right kinds of progress. So that's been reassuring for me, being in a position on my own. And then other things are different perspectives I hadn't necessarily considered. So give me the opportunity to reflect and to develop things or to change things or put new things into place. And like you both mentioned, having your mentor there has been really great. Diana has given me these amazing little hacks of how to use my calendar to really solve some of the problems I have, and it's been invaluable.
Thank you. That was so good to hear. I'm so glad that what's happening is exceeding your expectations and building that community, and really feels like it's relevant and practical for you right when you need it. And as you all were talking, I was remembering back to when I was not a coach, but a tech facilitator for the first time. And I just have this vision of myself like in a prison all by myself, like just so desperate to make connections with someone somewhere who is doing the same job as me. Because even though we had a tech facilitator in elementary, we had a tech facilitator in high school, it wasn't the same. We didn't have the same principal. We didn't teach the same kids. It just wasn't the same. And so this opportunity to connect with others who are really going through the same kinds of things as you, albeit it's not the same because you're all in different schools, but you're all kind of on that same journey. So it's wonderful to hear that the resources and the format and the mentorship and the community is resonating with all of you, even though you're all in different spaces and different places and different aspects of your journey. One of the things I think that I'm most proud of for our program and for the coaches that work with us is that part of the program is for you to set your own goal. We have this personal project and you kind of work on a goal throughout the program. And I'm just curious from each of you, if you could share a little bit about what your goals were when you joined the coach, how your learning is kind of supporting you in reaching that goal, and maybe a little bit about where you're at right now, like a little moment in time kind of snapshot in terms of your personal goals and how your learning in the coach has helped you get there. And I will pick on Emma because she's on my screen.
So one of my key goals really was to look at the evidence that I could provide about the impact of my role. And so having the opportunity to try different things and work through that over the year has been really helpful. And I'm looking forward to sharing some more with the rest of the cohort and getting some more feedback and seeing how I can really prove the impact of coaching and to share that journey with my community and how powerful it can be. So it's been really good to have that opportunity to focus on that.
I mean, that's a huge thing that coaches all around the world are trying to measure the impact of coaching, their personal coaching, but also coaching as a support system in a school. And so having the opportunity to focus in on that and make that a priority for yourself, I think that's really important and valuable for you and for your school.
Yeah.
All right, we'll just go right back in order. Whitney, tell us a little bit about your goal and how the learning and resources in the coach are supporting you in kind of working towards that goal and where you're at right now.
For me, the biggest goal, or my major goal, was to begin to develop a culture of coaching at our school. It was something that hasn't necessarily been there and something that I saw the value in and a few other teachers did, but getting those like mid-level teachers and really getting the buy-in from the staff, especially in the middle school. And it's just the resources along the way have been really helpful in giving me those tips on how to make those breakthroughs with teachers. I've definitely had my rough points this year, and Kim has been wonderful in like talking me through those. And I've had those times where I'm like, nobody's reaching out, and I'm just sitting here, and how do I make this better? And then it's like all of a sudden things just start to pop, and people start asking for help, and it's those magical coaching conversations. For me, the midpoint reflection was an amazing opportunity to sit back and really look at everything that I've done to get to this point. I feel like a lot of times I look at the day by day or the week by week, but I haven't seen the big picture. And so for me, having to do that was one of the most valuable things, because I'm like, wow, this is actually happening.
That's so good to hear. And that resonates with me so much, because I think as a coach, you're so often looking for that next thing. What's the next thing I can do? And your eye is always on the future. And it's very rare to take a moment to look back and say, oh my gosh, I came into this school year. I came into the coach in this place. And now here I am 6 months later, and this is all of the things that I've accomplished. I think it's good to hear that taking the time to do that was as valuable for you as we want it to be. And Tiana, what were your goals for the coach, and what kind of resources and experiences in the program helped you work towards those goals, and where are you at now?
To be quite honest, before I started the coach, I had no goal with it. It was more, I want to learn more about coaching, and I want to see, if this is an avenue that I want to proceed down with my own personal goals, like professionally, but also to help me here in the school to develop the coaching system in the school. So I didn't go into it with a whole lot of specific goals per se. But what I learned right away is that I did have goals, and that, you helped me bring them out and figure out where do I want to focus. And some of that is building the program here at the school, and then also developing my own my coaching skills for myself as I transition to a different job for next year. And so for me, it was trying to figure out how to focus that goal, but then also how do I use this knowledge and apply it to what I'm looking forward to in the future. And so I think I would agree with Whitney that there were all these different things along the way that were helping me grow and understand things a bit better. But then honestly, that midpoint reflection was really good to be like, not only as a little slap in the face of like, what are you doing, and where, are you going to reach your goal by the end of this course, but also, just to help you see that, oh, I actually have done something. I actually have been working towards it. Like it is being successful. What I'm doing is being successful. What I'm learning has been applied. So it's been really cool to be on that journey and to see some of these things actually coming to fruition.
It's so cool. And I think it's
feels sometimes a little overwhelming when you start a program like this. You're like, oh, a year, what am I going to do in a year? I don't even know, like you're saying, I don't even know where to start. I just want to find out more about coaching. But then to discover through the conversations we have, through the group meetings, through the resources, through all the activities that we do, that there is like a path for you. That's your personalized path. And each of you has your own unique path that you're taking through the program. I think that's so valuable. It's the kind of professional learning that I wish I had when I started out coaching. And I personally think it's the kind of professional learning that all teachers and education professionals should have access to, that kind of personalized experience that grows and develops with you and takes you on your own learning journey. So thank you for sharing all of those things. I'm going to put you guys on the spot with two more questions. One is there one key takeaway or one, I called it your greatest learning in the program? Was there one thing that you're like, oh, this is like been a really powerful piece of learning for me that I can apply in my coaching practice? I'm going to pick on Tiana because you're right here in front of me.
I knew it. No, that's totally fine. I think the thing that always comes back to me is the questioning and the thinking about like really listening to people. And I know I've said this before, but to really, I find myself just in personal conversations now, just like, okay, focus on what they're saying, not on what you're going to say next. Focus on what, not the solution, just listening. And then coming up with those, taking the time to come up with the questions to help not put my influence as much as what's your solution to the problem that I can help you find.
Yes. Oh my gosh. As you're talking, people are always asking me, can I watch a coaching conversation? How can I see a coaching conversation? I think a lot of times it's really hard to provide that because coaching conversations are intended to be private, right? And you and I have had so many of those conversations and they have been so gold. And I just wish I could have recorded some of them for people, because this issue or this skill of questioning and the skill of listening and the skill of developing a conversation in a way that helps that person reach their goals and feel like they're in charge of the conversation, you have just focused in on that, and that has become such a skill that you are building. And it's so exciting for me to work on that with you and to watch you grow with that skill. I wish there had been a way that we could have documented pieces of that over the course of the program, because the questions that you ask and the conversations that we have always prompts me to think deeper. And I just am so appreciative of that. And I'm glad that that's a big takeaway for you, because for me, in working with you, that's one of my big takeaways too. So thank you for sharing that. I'll pass it on to Whitney to tell us a little bit about your greatest learning or a big takeaway or something that you're going to use in your coaching practice that you got out of this experience so far.
I've had a couple, but I think my biggest would be to not put my expectations onto the situation and to meet the situation exactly where it is, knowing that I can't change what's happened in the past. I can't change people in the future or what they're going to do with it. I can only meet that situation in the present and live in the present and do the best I can in that moment.
And you have had such a roller coaster over the course of this program that I appreciate so much that's the reality of a coach's life. You're not usually directing anything. You're usually responding and supporting, and maybe you're visioning things and helping the school move in one direction, but you still have to be at the pace of the people that you're working with. And sometimes that's really hard. So learning that skill and being able to adapt in that environment, that will help you no matter what role you have next. And last but not least, Emma, any key takeaway or great learning or something that you know that you will keep going in your practice that you learned throughout the coach?
I think the importance of developing relationships with administrators as the person that is going to be really supportive of your program. That's been my biggest takeaway this year, is really working together to make sure we are on the same page and that we're delivering the same message and that they understand what they can do to support me to make the program more successful for the teachers and therefore the students. That's been my biggest learning this year, is that need to really solidify their understanding so that you can move forward together.
It's such an interesting transition or dynamic because oftentimes when you become a coach, you have been a classroom teacher and you don't normally work that closely with your administrator as a classroom teacher. I mean, they know what your job is, you know what their job is, and you just kind of go about your daily business. But then when you become a coach, it's so much more clear the partnership, the relationship that happens between you and your administrator, and the importance of them understanding what your role is and you being able to support them in the way that they need to be supported and for them to be able to support you in the way that you need to be supported. So that is like a critical facet of having a successful coaching experience in a school. Thanks. All right, last kind of final question. What has the biggest value of the coach been for you? How is the community within the coach? What is it there that really is the most valuable for you that you might share with someone who's considering the program? What would you want them to know? And I know you have all done lovely testimonial videos for me, and I appreciate that so much. But in this last context, as the final question of this conversation, what is that like value key piece that you would want to share with someone that's been really meaningful for you? And I'll start with Emma and we'll go back down the line again.
I think two kind of things really is the flexibility piece of the coach, the way that I've been able to reorder things depending on what's come up for me in my role and what my priorities are and my, what I need to learn at that time. But mainly having Diana as a mentor has been amazing because, that extra person that's been through it that can give you that pep talk or provide you with that key resource or recommend something for you. And she's always happy to find out things and go and research things for me and then share those with me. So those have been the most important things that I think you don't necessarily get in other PDs. So that's been really helpful.
Thank you. That's awesome. Whitney?
It's that PLN, developing such a strong PLN of like-minded people who are going through the same situation, and just people that, if you needed that advice and needed that help, you can reach out to them, and knowing that they've been through a situation or something very similar. I mean, I even had someone from the coach reach out about a job opportunity, like asking for advice at the school that I'm at. And so it's like just been this amazing, it makes this huge world that we all live in so much smaller and almost safer, so to speak. So I think that's been the biggest thing.
Awesome. That's so great to hear. Thank you. And last but not least, Tiana?
Yeah, I think I would have to piggyback on both of you. I think it's the flexibility of the program to just, this is what I need and this is what I need now. I've read ahead on some of these units, even if I haven't finished them. I still read ahead sometimes, like digital citizenship. We're talking about that right now. Let's read it, and just trying to help me figure out things as I need them. But then also the mentorship, I think, has been absolutely key because I have very specific questions about very specific things. And as much as other people who aren't mentoring me all the time could give their suggestions, it's different when you can go back to the same person and go, okay, so now this is the issue, or this is where I'm struggling, or this is what I'm finding to be a hurdle that I need to try and overcome or help somebody overcome. And, and just to have that one-on-one, between you're giving me advice, but also just listening and having me try and work it out as well, just like you do when you're coaching. It's just been great.
Thank you so much, all of you, for spending a half an hour with me, sharing your personal journeys as coaches, your goals as coaches, and how the program has supported you in kind of making that next step in your professional journey. I really appreciate your time tonight, and thank you for all the kind words you have all said. I really appreciate it, and I'm so glad to hear, and you guys tell me this all the time, so it's not something new from this conversation, but it's wonderful to hear that what we're trying to do is what we're actually doing. So thank you so much for your time today and for your commitment and your dedication to the program. It is such a pleasure to work with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you enjoy today's episode? Then you will love the Coach Microcredential program. We know because our current participants are always sharing their feedback with us, and we ask them to share their experiences with you.
I'd really advise anyone interested in taking the coach to take the plunge and go for it.
So do it, and you won't regret it. Yeah, you'll really enjoy it. It's a valuable experience.
So I say go for it. Definitely take the coach. I couldn't recommend it more.
So I'd highly recommend it. I would definitely suggest you try and join to really help you develop your professional coaching skills. But overall, this course is fantastic because it's made me feel awesome. It's made me feel excited for my future. It's given me really great skills to help others, and hopefully I can help others to feel the same way.
So I highly recommend it.
If I were to give any piece of advice or message to future cohort members, it is to take the course. If you are on the fence, please take it.
When you're ready to learn more about the coach, click on the link below or reach out to us at Eduro Learning on any of our social media platforms. Registration for our next cohort opens soon. Don't miss it. Expand your professional learning network, dive deep into 26 weeks of curated coaching content, and get your own private mentor for an entire academic year. We can't wait to work with you. Are you ready to take your coaching skills to the next level? Join the next cohort of The Coach and make it happen.